Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Rain. I'm Rachel, with my coffee, with my books, without rain, but that's okay. We don't always have all of them all of the time, but that's okay. We are going to make it through on this really pretty Sunday. It's actually very hot. I think my heat index is somewhere around 110 outside, according to my phone. So that's pretty darn hot and spicy. So I'm going to stay inside where it's nice and cool. But today we are talking about The Enchanted Greenhouse, Spellshop number 2 by Sarah Beth Durst. Now, I didn't actually get to read Spellshop number 1, but 100% I'm going to because this one was so phenomenally cute. I had such a great time with it, and it hit me in all of the cozy fantasy feels. So let's dive into the summary and we're going to go from there. New York Times bestselling author Tara Beth Durst invites you into her new standalone novel, nestled in a faraway island brimming with singing flowers, honey cakes, and a honey-eyed love. Oh, honeyed love. Sorry, it looked like honey-eyed, but honeyed love. And then it says the hardcover edition has sprayed edges. So Tara Lou Perna broke the law because she was lonely. She cast a spell and created a magically sentient spider plant. As punishment, she was turned into a wooden statue and tucked away into an alcove in the north reading room of the Great Library of Elysium. This should have been the end of her story. Yet one day Tara Lou wakes up in the cold winter on a nearly deserted island of hundreds of magical greenhouses. She's starving and freezing, and the only other human on the island is a grumpy gardener. To her surprise, he offers Tara Lou a place to sleep, clean clothes, and a freshly baked honey cake. At least until she's ready to sail home. But Tara Lou can't return home. She doesn't want to. The greenhouses are her dream come true, each more wondrous than the next. When she learns about that the magic that sustains them is failing, causing the death of everything within them, Tara Lou knows she must help, even if that means breaking the law again. This time, though, she isn't alone. Assisted by the gardener and a sentient rose, Tara Lou must unravel the secrets of a long-dead sorcerer if she wants to save the island and have a fresh chance at happiness and love. Funny, kind, and forgiving, The Enchanted Greenhouse is a story about giving second chances to others and to yourself. Fantasy, romance, cozy fantasy, fiction, and romantasy. It's approximately 384 pages in hardcover and is expected publication of July 15th, 2025. Now, it does say it's standalone, but it's still, I guess, number 2 in a Spellshop series. So I do wonder if the Spellshop is number 1 and then this one is just standalone but can kind of like accompany it. Now, I loved it and thought it was absolutely adorable. I just couldn't put it down. I did have the audiobook, which made me so very happy to be able to continue consuming it at my own leisure and my own pace. Now, I am super hopeful that we get some level of maybe potential sequel. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there right now because that would be fantastic as well. But hold on just 1 second. So sorry, had to step away for just 2 seconds, but I am back. Now, I saw something in here. Actually, it was somebody else's review, and as I was just scrolling, so apparently the Spellshop is the sentient spider plant. It's Kaz. Kaz is the sentient spider plant in the Spellshop. Tara Lou made Kaz. So this book references Kaz, and so I guess that's kind of like it's a little bit of a crossover, and it says it's nice. And so let me just make sure, Sill the book Voyagers is who the one who says it. It says it was such a nice connection between book one and the other. You basically know in the spell shop that someone made Kaz and that that person was punished for doing magic. And that's pretty much everything you know about Terraloop back then. But then in the Enchanted Greenhouse, this one, you meet her and you fall madly in love with her and her story as well. So that's really good to know, since I haven't read the Spell Shop, but it's on my list, and I actually wrote it on my my Barnes and Noble to pick up list, because I have a couple that I want to go pick up the next time I swing through there, because it's across the street from me, which is kind of nice. But so that's really good to know. If you're wondering, Kaz is Terralou's, friend that she created when she was a librarian in Elysium. Now, she was really lonely, and apparently a lot of her friends, or the people that she tried to make friends with, she would come off very strong, and come off as being a little too much with regards to maybe wanting to hang out too frequently, or just being overwhelming to the point that it would push people away. So she became lonely in herself, and so she found a spell that allowed her to make Kaz. And so she did that, which worked out for her, being able to make Kaz, but also was kind of illegal. So she was not supposed to be doing magic, and Kaz was taken away. She was then put on trial, and the head librarian did try to argue on her behalf, but Terraloo was still turned into a wooden statue as more or less an example. Now, that is kind of like the worst example ever, in my personal opinion. I don't support that level of making an example of someone, especially when it's their first offense. It did no harm to anyone of any kind, and there were actually absolutely no negative ramifications from her turning this spider plant into a sentient being, none whatsoever. The court could not point out a single negative ramification, and yet they still condemned her to life as a wooden statue. So she is now a wooden statue after an unknown amount of time in her mind, and so we will get to that point as well. She comes to on in a new place that's very cold and very snowy, and she doesn't know where she is, and she finds herself alone again. She's not sure who has more or less awakened her or reverted her spell. She's not sure if they were supposed to, or if it was accidental, or what, but all she can do is now be grateful that she's no longer wooden, but she knows she's not in her library anymore, and everything looks different. So she does realize that she is outside of this gigantic greenhouse, which looks so inviting on the inside because it looks so amazingly warm on the inside. So she tries her best to use a rock to break her way in. It doesn't work, and she's freezing to death outside. Well, ultimately she's just about to give up hope when I guess she kind of wishes in her heart of hearts that she could find a door, and she does. A door, I don't think it magically appears, but a door is not too far away. So she goes inside, and now she's getting warm. And there's now this now she's inside. Now she's getting warm, and this place is so incredibly magical and beautifully described within the book. This is where a lot of this cozy atmosphere kind of comes into play. It was just absolutely magical, which gives you that really just atmospheric, just you want to keep reading about it, because this greenhouse just seems to go on and on through all of these other greenhouses forever. And there are hundreds of them. Well, she does run across this very grumpy gardener, and he does kind of divulge that he's the one who kind of awakened her. I guess it'd be awake. It didn't awoke her, but awakened her, and he's hopeful that she can help him. Well, he's like, okay, well, I think, like, do you know magic? And she's like, no. And he's like, oh, okay, dang it. Well, and then he like goes about his business. He's like, all right, whatever. And so he just goes about his business. And so it's kind of like at that point you're like, wait, what is going on? And apparently he's very cute, and she's kind of like, ooh, he's kind of nice. But she describes herself as being a little on the maybe the fluffy side. I don't really know. Like, I like that she kind of describes herself as having a little bit more cushion. She was a librarian. I mean, I don't know. I think you get this trope where there's always this just super attractive girl, and the guy is always super attractive too, and everybody's just always super attractive. Like, why can't people just be like normal looking? Like, I think I'm just normal looking. Like, I don't think if I wrote a book about myself that I would just be like super attractive looking, and the guys would always be super attractive. Like, I don't know. Like, does that make sense? But every time I pick up one of these cozy fantasies, either the main crush, the main male crush, or the main female crush, or whoever, is always so incredibly handsome, so incredibly gorgeous. And I'm like, why is nobody just like a person? Like, why are they just not a person? Huh? I'm just curious. But anyway, Yarrow is, he's a gardener. And he's kind of gruff, and he's rough around the edges, and he's pretty introverted, and he seems to have a little bit of social anxiety. So I wouldn't even call those character flaws. Like, I would call that like 90% of my friend group, honestly. If you met half of them, you'd be like, yeah, they're a little gruff, a little introverted, a little rough around the edges, but they're really awesome people. And anyway, so they just kind of start bonding. He's like, okay, yeah, you can go back to my cabin and, take a nap. I'm sure you're tired. Like, there's some food over there. Please get yourself some food. And when you're ready to leave, just, let me know. We'll try to figure out, how you can leave. Ships come through here every once in a while. And he's a man of few words. So all the words that I just used, he probably grunts out in like 3 or 4 words. But I guess they do have a couple small kind of terse conversations, but they start to grow on each other. She needs a friend, and she needs a purpose in life. She's also worried about what I would say is returning to civilization. She's worried that she doesn't really belong there anymore. She does learn that it's also been about 6 years that she's been wooden. So she's worried that, I guess, okay, so here's my biggest thing, is she is so concerned about Yarrow contacting his family, and yet she's the one who hasn't talked to her family for like freaking years. And even when she was like, before she was wooden, she hadn't talked to her family. And so even now that she's not wooden, she's still not talking to her family. And I'm just like, and you say he's like socially awkward? Like, what? I'm just like she doesn't even have a real reason other than she just thinks you're going to be mad at her. I'm like, what? I don't get it. I didn't really get it. I couldn't understand her justification behind that, but I guess. Anyway, ultimately things turn out really, really cute. He does divulge that one of the reasons that he woke her up, I guess he reached out trying to get help, because as he has been the gardener here, the greenhouses have been failing, and he would like he needs some magical help in order to prevent the greenhouses from failing, so these beautiful plants and these beautiful environments won't fail anymore. Some of them are sentient, like Kaz. And so, even though Tara Lou has not done this for years, she's so worried about using this ability again, or using this spell again, or anything similar, because she was already reprimanded so hard. She doesn't want that level of, I guess that hammer to fall back on her, because this would be her second strike. And so what would they do to her now? Would it be like, would it be death? So she's not sure. But she's just kind of worried, but she just can't let this place like fall to ruin. And but she stays. And then so that's where they do finally, I think that's my biggest hiccup with this book, is they just don't talk about the stuff they need to talk about. I'm like, that's probably my biggest issue with like some of these tropes, is why don't people just talk about the stuff that needs to be talked about? They dance around all the other stuff, and they're like, oh, look, the pretty flowers, oh, look, the one that's got water in it, oh, look. And they don't talk about the stuff like, oh, hey, so the magical greenhouses are failing and I really need your help to try to save them. Like we have to dance around it. We have to try to do it on our own, and not let people like know that we're struggling. I don't know, but I did love this book. I thought it was so incredibly cute, and I do highly recommend it. So, there is a cat. His name is Emerald, and he is a flying cat, or a cat with wings, and he's adorable. There is also a talking rose named Lottie, and she's a bit of a sassy pants that at first she was very kind of abrasive, but she does kind of grow on you a little bit. She's very much a diva. So just letting you know about that. And we do get a couple other characters. There is a ship captain who is phenomenal. I think her name is Marin. And then there is this little bush that joins Marin on the boat, and I forget what kind of, he's like a myrtle, some sort of myrtle, I think. But anyway, which is just adorable because he wants to be part of a ship's crew, and he's sentient, and the ship's captain just lets him on board, and he gets to go like live his life and do his adventures, and love that for him. Like, the ship's captain is just totally fine with him joining. So there you go. I don't think I've spoiled anything for you. Again, cozy fantasy, and if you know about cozy fantasy. Yeah, so there you go. I'm not going to tell you anything more about it. I think you're just going to have to go read it and figure it out. And if you've read the Spellshop, then I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised with any of the references to Kaz and the ending, very much so. But with all of that being said, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. And if you haven't, I hope you will. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I will see you all on the next page. Have a great one. Bye.